ASTI classifies agricultural research expenditures following three different categories: salaries, operating and program expenditures, and finally capital investments. Under salaries, we clearly include the wages, the salaries of agricultural researchers and technical support staff, but also any other staff remuneration packages of permanent or temporary staff, including things like health insurance or pensions or any other benefits. They should all be included under salaries. It's also important that you include the labor cost of those scientists that are not on the official payroll, but that perhaps have a consultancy contract within certain agriculture R&D agencies. Those costs should really also be reported under salaries and not under operating costs. And the next section, operating and program expenditures. Those are all the costs associated with running agricultural research programs to keep laboratories operating, etc. So this includes items such as electricity, gasoline, agricultural inputs, staff training, travel, maintenance, and any other cost associated with running research programs. And finally, capital expenditures. Well, capital expenditures include all investments related to the purchase or rental of items that last longer than a year. So things like buildings, laboratory equipment, cars, computers, office furniture, etc. ASTI aims to collect information on the actual expenditures made by an agricultural R&D agency. We don't collect budgeted or projected expenditure information. It's also important to include all funding sources. So don't only report the cost categories, so salaries, operating costs, or capital investments that are funded by the government, but any other funding sources should be reported as well, including donors or income that's generated internally through the sale of goods and services. ASTI does not collect any financial information from universities, and we're actually looking into ways of getting a better sense of the expenditures of universities. But so far, ASTI has not collected any information on financial information from universities because it's very difficult for universities to provide this information simply because of their mandate. Like typically, a university might, for example, spend 80% of its time on teaching and 20% of its time on research. And the problem is, like, if we start collecting information just on research projects, the universities tend to under-report on any other items. So what ASTI has done up to date is just estimate university expenditures by assuming that average expenditures per researchers at universities is roughly the same as average expenditures per researcher in the government sector. If there's very good reason to assume that average expenditures per researcher in the university sector is significantly higher or lower than in the government sector, ASTI makes adjustments.